Today I fricked up. Gamer from 1994 says. Today I fricked up believing, after being told it'd be called. When I was in junior high I went to a Guitar Hero tournament and I was told we will call you, and so I left and I waited all day for a phone call. Which brings us to more recently to a few years ago. My initial foo was misreading what time I needed to be at a job interview by 30 minutes, and so I asked what I should do. I was told don't worry, they'll call you and ask you about rescheduling. And so I left and I waited all day for a phone call that never came. And then a few days later, I received an email saying that I was not selected for the job. It was perhaps 6 to 12 months later that I ever so randomly woke up and it occurred to me that in both of these instances they were going to call my name out loud. Too long, didn't read, was told it'd be called, and so I left. I later realized that I was gonna have my name called out loud. Z64 says. Yeah, you showed up 30 minutes late to an interview. They said they'd call you, that means your phone. They decided not to call you because you showed up 30 minutes late. It's just says. Those events are unrelated org. They do both have the word call in them, I guess. Interview equals phone Tony equals speaker, we will call you to reschedule, with them telling you that you didn't get the job FYI. Being 30 minutes late is unacceptable beyond acts of God essentially. Imoni017 says. This is one of my favorite posts I've ever seen on this site. Ops comments are simply incredible. Red4pex says. I think we have found out why Op doesn't have a job yet. Jacobdoc says. You/Gamer from 1994, you are the most autistic person I've seen on the internet this year. And I've seen some shit this year. You comments are making me laugh in the office. Incredible work. Winterzafir88 says. I read the entire thread from start to finish, and I think some hair fell out from the stress. Went through their post history to find out if they are just a master of frick, or the stupidest person ever born, still not sure. Will I ever recover from this experience? Probably not. HDKSJDMSN says. Tell me you're autistic without telling me. M1RR0R says. The odd is palpable. Op, look into ads and autism if you haven't already. You might learn some things to better equip yourself for these ridiculous social rituals. Jimirad says. If he has autism, wouldn't the doctor already have called to let him know? Trafalgar lol says. Did you know before today that you're on the spectrum? Little Yilla says. Holy shit, Op is either dumb as rocks or severely autistic. Helpful Midnight 2645 says. Baby, I hope you're cute. Good luck out there, honey. Infoleptic says. Op is off his nut. These comments are hilarious. Belfengream says. I cannot tell if this is bait or not because of Op's comments on Mayo. 53 and says. Come by and visit us at r/autism, where we recently learned you're not really supposed to honk if you love pizza. I just work here 000C says. They aren't going to call your name out loud expecting you to be there for a job interview. Doom Black Death says. Lol, no, they weren't going to call your name out loud, they blew you off because you were half an hour late to the interview. Correct Strategy 633 says. Our director Herefi were not going to call your name out loud. In work lingo that means they have more people to interview, and they were likely not impressed to hire you that moment. r/today I fricked up. Third Houseaplant says. Today I fricked up be driving the wrong direction for hours. My husband, son, and I went to a festival about an hour away from home earlier this morning. We decided to leave around 2 PM and expected to be home by 3ish give or take stops, toddler. I forkick. come 4:30 and we still don't even seem remotely close to home. I double check the GPS. We're even much further, by a lot, away from home than the festival. Turns out there is my address, street name and number, in a town by the northern half of my state. You guessed it, I live in the south. I guess I figured my phone would fill in the town portion of the address correctly, since I drive to my house all the time. I was mistaken, and that's how a 1.5-hour drive tripled itself. Yes, a few times I questioned the route, but I was so tired I just didn't think much of it until the GPS finally said we were 30 minutes from the house whilst being on an interstate section nowhere near our town obviously. There aren't this many hills on the way home. I don't remember coming from this way. Maybe it needs us to drive this direction for a few minutes before it routes adjust. I was a fool. Good night. Too long. Didn't read. Typed my own address wrong into the GPS and went the wrong way for an embarrassingly long time on a road trip. Edit. This is my first Reddit post and I find the behavior extremely odd from some users to come on a forum intended for people to openly discuss their mistakes with the mentality of I can't believe you could be so stupid as to make a mistake like this. Read the room Zuxo. Tinshinchin says, one day you'll be able to laugh about this. Third Houseaplant says, oh we did already, until we cried. I woke my husband up as soon as I realized. Luckily we are both easygoing people. Just bummed mostly to not be home as expected. Crash 866 says, better than the people who book a plane flight to London, Ontario instead of London, England and wind up in the wrong country. Or Portland, Maine instead of Washington. Elsbeerbaum says, once we were coming home, NW Ohio, from Southern TN. This was before we had smartphones, so we used printed directions for the way there. My ex-hubby in his infinite wisdom says we'll just use these, but backwards to get home. Somehow we ended up driving almost to par. Finally I told him to stop at a gas station so I could use the restroom. I bought a paper map and told him I'm driving the rest of the way home. As for GPS, I have my home address saved as home in my Google Maps, so I don't have to enter it and will always get to the correct place. Not sure what you're using, but I would think you'd be able to save a full address in any of them now. Random 314 says, at least you didn't make the mistake going to the festival. Okay Yogurtklus at 404 says, this happened to my sister-in-law many moons ago. She and my mother-in-law were driving home from Bozeman or Helena somewhere in Montana. I-90 splits after Billings as you head east. One branch is actually I-90 and continues along the proper path. The other half goes north to Miles City. My mother-in-law napped because she had to work in the morning, and so sister-in-law finally pulled over for gas and asked her mom how far Miles City was from home. Mom had a little bit of a freak out because she had been driving for a few hours in the wrong direction. Second and Drunk says, I just type my city into the GPS. Once I get to the area, it turns off and I know where I'm before I arrive. Fit Incident Boom 469 says, my mom did that on the way home from one of my hockey games. We usually needed to go south after my games, but this time we should have headed north. It didn't take too much convincing for her to let me take over driving. I had my learner's permit, and I ended up getting 3 or 4 hours of the drive time I needed for my license that evening. Nina Haydar says, now you had an unexpected adventure. Laddie Mystery says, I only went about 10 minutes the wrong way last time I did it. Worst I ever heard was someone driving to Alaska and going the wrong way for a full day. r/today I fricked up. Alien Empire 0105 says, today I fricked up be telling my sister her first tattoo is bad. Nothing came of it, but basically my little sister has been making really rough decisions lately. I don't have an issue with tattoos, but I can tell by the end result that she didn't do her research on what tattoo artist she used. She didn't tell me about it beforehand, or I would referred her to some great ones. Instead she went to our local shop that's known for their piercings, but their tattoo artists are very subpar. Her tattoo is supposed to match my dad's, but it looks like a great value knockoff. I called her after she sent the photo and I shouldn't have. I should have taken a second to process it, but I was, for lack of a better word, in shock. She asked what I thought of it and I asked if I could be honest. I said it was just not it for me, and she asked why and it somewhat came out, although not even close to the extent I was thinking. I told her that the number in the center, my dad's lucky number, wasn't centered and that the line walk was just not great. I feel like shit, because I immediately was like she is gonna have this now for the rest of her life, and told her that all that matters is that she is happy with it though, and asked her if she likes it. She said she freaks with it, and I switched my attitude and tried to be supportive, but omelet's bad. Too long, didn't read. I told my little sister that basically her first tattoo is rough, and I feel like shit. Mastern says she's going to have people telling her it's shit for her whole life, probably for the best, that she gets used to it. Alien Empire 0105 says Ike, but she didn't need to hear it from me, wish I could redo that conversation. PRC Spice says I had to tell a cousin that she was displaying a sexual innuendo in a language she doesn't speak, but my wife and I do. That was a bit fraught. But she did get it reworked into something nice and innocuous she can be proud of, so that was a win. Nobody asked M3 says blows my mind that people don't think ahead on something that is a permanent part of their body. Sunday afternoon says OMG, she asked, and you were honest in a direct but caring way. If she hadn't asked, you'd be free to keep your opinion to herself. People lying about these things only encourages more bad decisions. Also doesn't prepare her for how others will likely judge as well. At the end of the day, it's her body and her choice. You are right that hers is the only opinion that counts, but she did ask, and respectfully sharing your opinion is totally valid and supportive. Lying doesn't do her any favors. Hyundai GT says okay, I'm old. What does she freaks with her tattoo even mean? Kringo17 says I have a family member that went through a big tattoo phase and got a ton of tattoos. They were in their 50s when they did this, and they love these tattoos. To me, someone who also has tattoos that I love, most of them look very amateur. But I have never said a thing. I don't think they ever had a ton of money to spend on these tattoos, so they went to someone they could afford. What matters is if they are happy. It is their body, their life, and they lived a pretty full one before they got their tats. Not my place to say a word. I'm happy if they are happy. Behint Human Horizon says when the tattoo is crap, it is crap. Hopefully she can get it fixed in a better tattoo parlor. People shall definitely be told if their tattoos are crap. Maybe that will stop them going again to those shitty places for tattoos. And not to recommend them for anyone. Markafert44 says watch your tone talking about great value. Defenthester88x says the removal lasers have gotten pretty good and will continue to improve. If she ever truly regrets it, there's a path to remediation. And she doesn't seem to be upset by what you said. She freaks with it after all. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.